For more than 60 years, a fire has been burning beneath this town, and no one has been able to stop it. Most of the people are gone, and nature has slowly taken back what was once a town. But beneath these quiet hills, something is still alive. Even today, smoke quietly rises from cracks in the ground, as if the earth itself is breathing. In some places, the ground is too hot to even walk on. For decades, experts and officials came here, trying to understand what was happening beneath the town. At first, people thought it was nothing, just small cracks and strange changes in the ground. But soon, the ground began to change in ways that could no longer be ignored. At first, people tried to continue their daily lives, even as strange signs kept growing. Until slowly, the town began to empty, and silence started taking its place. The town was disappearing, one family at a time. But the real question isn't what happened to the town, it's what started it all. Long before Centralia ever existed, this land was a vast, silent forest hiding secrets beneath its ground. Beneath this peaceful forest lay one of America's richest coal deposits, waiting to be discovered. In the 1800s, surveyors and miners began arriving, searching for valuable coal beneath the forest. As surveys expanded, the land revealed thick coal seams spread across the underground region. What began as curiosity quickly turned into plans for extraction and mining development. Small mining operations soon began, carving into the land that once stood untouched. As mining grew, workers began building small homes near the coal sites for their families. Schools, small churches, and markets soon formed as Centralia slowly came to life. Coal wasn't just underground anymore. It had become the lifeline of the entire town. By now, Centralia had grown into a busy mining town, where daily life revolved around coal. But beneath the growing town, the forest and coal layers remained silent, waiting for what was to come. By the mid-1900s, Centralia had become a thriving coal town, busy, growing, and full of life. Coal was more than a resource here. It powered jobs, businesses, and nearly every family in town. Every day, trains carried Centralia's coal across the region, connecting this small town to a much bigger world. For many families, the day began before sunrise and ended with another shift completed beneath the hills. As the mines prospered, local businesses, restaurants, and shops flourished alongside them. Centralia was more than a mining town. It was a community where generations grew up together. Nearly every part of life in Centralia was connected to coal, directly or indirectly. To the people of Centralia, the future looked stable, prosperous, and built to last for generations. For decades, life carried on as usual, and few could imagine how quickly everything would change. Then in 1962, a routine cleanup operation began near the town landfill, and everything changed. 1962, attention turned to a landfill on the edge of Centralia, a place few residents ever thought about. As Memorial Day approached, workers prepared to clean the landfill, a routine task that had been done many times before. To clear the landfill, workers set fire to the trash, a common practice at the time. At first, there was no reason to worry. The fire looked like a routine landfill burn, just as it had before. But when the cleanup was over, something unusual remained. The fire simply refused to go out. Unknown to the workers, the fire had likely found a path through old mine openings hidden beneath the landfill. Deep beneath the landfill, the fire reached a seam of anthracite coal, and the disaster quietly began. Soon, smoke began appearing beyond the original burn site, in places where no fire should have existed. Local crews moved in to stop the fire, believing it was still a problem that could be contained. Despite repeated efforts, the smoke kept returning, as if the fire was spreading somewhere beyond their reach. By now, officials were beginning to realize a troubling fact. This was no longer just a landfill fire. What began as a routine cleanup fire was now burning beneath Centralia itself. At first, it looked like the problem had ended, but soon, smoke began appearing again in unexpected places. Soon, residents and workers began noticing something unusual. The ground itself felt warmer than it should have. What no one could see was that the fire had already started moving beneath the ground. Beneath Centralia lay a vast network of abandoned coal mines, stretching far beyond the landfill itself. Those abandoned mines became pathways, allowing the fire to travel silently beneath the town. Before long, smoke was appearing far beyond the landfill, in places scattered across Centralia itself. As the reports increased, officials began taking a closer look, searching for answers beneath Centralia. The more they investigated, the clearer it became. The fire was still moving, and every solution seemed temporary. The evidence pointed to a troubling conclusion. The fire was spreading through Centralia's underground coal seams. Beneath Centralia's streets, homes, and churches, the fire was still spreading, unseen and unstoppable. As the underground fire continued to spread, Centralia itself began to change. In some areas, the ground became strangely warm, even during the cold Pennsylvania winters. Soon, another problem emerged. Dangerous gases were beginning to escape from the ground. What made the situation frightening was that people were still living their daily lives directly above the fire. As more evidence emerged, officials began warning that Centralia's underground fire was becoming a serious threat. For many residents, the fire was no longer a distant problem. It was becoming part of everyday life. Tests confirmed what many had feared. Dangerous gases were building up beneath parts of the town. As concerns grew, reports about Centralia's underground fire began appearing in newspapers across the region. What had once been a local concern was now drawing wider attention, and Centralia's future was becoming a public question. By the 1970s, many residents had begun to understand a painful truth. The problem was not going away. Many homeowners soon faced a harsh reality. Their homes were becoming harder to sell. Local businesses felt the impact too. Fewer customers meant an uncertain future. For many families, one question became impossible to avoid. Should they stay or leave? For some families, the decision was made. It was time to leave Centralia behind. One by one, families left Centralia behind, and empty houses became a more common sight. Friends, neighbors, and entire families drifted apart as the community they built slowly began to disappear. What had once been a thriving mining town was slowly becoming a shadow of its former self. Centralia wasn't disappearing overnight. It was fading away, one family, one home, and one goodbye at a time. As conditions worsened, state officials could no longer treat Centralia's fire as a temporary problem. As experts reviewed the situation, one difficult solution kept returning: relocating the people of Centralia. Soon, many residents received an offer they never expected: money to leave their homes behind. For some residents, the decision was difficult, but staying seemed even harder. In one shocking moment, the ground suddenly collapsed in a backyard without warning. News of the incident spread quickly, and Centralia suddenly became a major public concern. After the incident and media attention, more residents began accepting the government buyout offers. Abandoned homes were slowly being taken down as buyouts turned into demolition. With more homes removed and families gone, entire streets of Centralia began to look empty and unfamiliar. What remained of Centralia was no longer the town it once was. It was slowly turning into something unrecognizable. By this time, most of Centralia had already become empty, leaving only a few scattered homes behind. Only a small number of families still lived in Centralia, surrounded by silence and abandoned streets. Centralia's main street, once full of life, had become completely silent and deserted. The few families who remained continued their daily lives in complete isolation. As time passed, nature slowly began to reclaim the empty streets and abandoned spaces. With fewer people left and no activity in sight, Centralia continued to fade deeper into Centralia had become a place where time seemed to stop, frozen in its own disappearance. Even today, the fire beneath Centralia continues to burn deep underground. Decades later, the land still carries visible scars from the disaster. Over time, Centralia became so empty that its presence on the map slowly faded. Even now, traces of old streets and neighborhoods can still be found across the landscape. While the fire burns below, nature has reclaimed much of what was once a town. The underground fire that began in 1962 still burns today, hidden beneath the ground. What remains is a quiet landscape where a town once stood and where history was forever changed. Centralia was never rebuilt, and today it remains one of the most unusual abandoned towns in the world.